Hollywood has its fair share of train wrecks, but Meghan Markle's latest Netflix disaster?
Meghan Markle thought that she was being very clever by pimping out her children.
Oh, this one isn't just another flop. It's the kind of career implosion you can see from space. We're talking catastrophic ratings, furious Netflix execs, and of course, Meghan's go-to-crisis move, using Archie and Lilibet as emotional currency.
Nothing's working to cover up Meghan Markle's career catastrophe.
But this isn't just about one failed cooking show. No, this is about hypocrisy, desperation, and a pattern so obvious that even her most loyal defenders are starting to whisper. Has Meghan Markle finally burned through her last ounce of credibility? Stay tuned, because this story only gets worse. Let's start with the numbers, because numbers don't lie, even when PR spin tries its hardest to drown them in glitter. Meghan Markle's second season of her Netflix cooking and lifestyle series? It tanked. And not just a little. We're talking a catastrophic 20% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, 20. 2-0. That's not just bad, it's brutal. A score so low it makes Adam Sandler's worst rom-coms look like Oscar contenders. And let's not forget, this was a drop from an already humiliating 38% in Season 1. Think about that. Season 1 had critics yawning and audiences shrugging, and yet somehow, Season 2 managed to perform even worse. Like a student failing a test, getting tutoring, and then failing harder on the retake. Now let's talk viewership, because the audience didn't just dip, it vanished. Over 500,000 people bailed between seasons. Gone. Poof. Imagine throwing a party, hiring the best caterers, laying out champagne fountains, and then watching half your guests leave halfway through the night. And afterward, you stand on the empty dance floor insisting, best party ever. That's the level of denial we're talking about here. And the critics? Oh, they didn't hold back. One reviewer flat out called the show painfully contrived. Another joked that watching Meghan sprinkle edible flowers on food while simultaneously admitting she barely cooks was so bizarre it was almost fascinating. Almost. In the same way, you can't look away from a slow-motion car crash. You're horrified, but morbidly intrigued. Here's the kicker though, the part that makes Hollywood insiders lose sleep. Netflix had poured millions into this project. Millions. They weren't investing in Meghan because she's the next Gordon Ramsay. No, they were banking on a glossy, influencer-friendly lifestyle brand that might rival the likes of Martha Stewart or Ina Garten. The promise was aspirational living, California sunshine, maybe a dash of royal sparkle. Instead, what did they get? A Pinterest board comes to life. Pretty plates. Forced smiles. A lot of aesthetic and zero substance. It wasn't cooking. It wasn't lifestyle. It was a mood board with a production budget. And here's where it goes from embarrassing to infuriating. Because most celebrities, after a flop like this, would quietly retreat. Maybe regroup. Maybe fire the PR team and start planning a comeback. Not Meghan. Oh no. Instead of reading the room, she pulled a stunt so tone-deaf, so brazen, that it left royal experts speechless and Netflix executives reportedly furious. When the reviews came in, Meghan turned to Instagram. And there it was, the stunt that made jaws drop. She posted carefully staged photos of Archie and Lilibet on set with her. Heart emojis cover their faces, as if that somehow erased the hypocrisy. Because let's be clear, these were the very children she had sworn to keep out of the spotlight. The children Netflix had been banned from filming. Yet here they were, suddenly paraded as props, rolled out not for art or authenticity, but as a desperate attempt to save their mother's failing career. The hypocrisy was staggering. This is the same Meghan who sued newspapers for printing unauthorized paparazzi photos. The same Meghan who told Oprah in front of millions that her children would never be used as pawns for publicity. She promised she'd never serve them up on a silver platter. But now they were being spoon-fed to the public, one carefully curated photo at a time. And experts noticed. Royal commentator Tom Sykes cut through the sugarcoating. Meghan's children are not being hidden. They are being rationed. Drip-fed to the public as part of the lifestyle she is selling. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Netflix executives were furious. They had spent millions building an entire show without Archie and Lilibet because Meghan demanded it. She told them the children were strictly off-limits. Fine, they said, we'll pivot. We'll make it about her. But when ratings collapsed and critics laughed her out of the room, suddenly those same children reappeared as Instagram clickbait. To Netflix, it was a slap in the face. They'd been denied the very family moments that could have given the series life, only to watch Meghan turn around and hand them out for free, on her own terms, the moment it suited her. Enter Dan Wootton. Love him or loathe him, you cannot tune him out. He's made a career out of sniffing out hypocrisy and hammering it into headlines. And for him, this wasn't just a story, it was catnip. While mainstream outlets tiptoed delicately, afraid of being accused of cruelty or bias, Wootton went straight for the jugular. He didn't bother with euphemisms. Forget sweet family moment. Forget relatable motherhood. To him, those heart emojis weren't about protection. They were about distraction. This wasn't wholesome. This wasn't family sharing. This was desperation in high definition, a PR stunt staged by a woman watching her Hollywood dream collapse in real time. And Wootton wasn't pulling this out of thin air. He has form. He's taken down palace cover-ups, shredded celebrity facades, and highlighted contradictions that the glossy magazines wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. When he looked at Meghan's Instagram stunt, his verdict was surgical in its simplicity. Meghan Markle had finally reached the point where her last bankable asset wasn't talent, wasn't charisma, wasn't even storytelling. It was her children. And that is a line most audiences are unwilling to see crossed. Because once you start monetizing your kids, rationing them, unveiling them, dangling them like bait, the public's tolerance doesn't just waver. It collapses. Fast. And when it does, the fall is brutal. Because here's the truth, this wasn't a one-off mistake. It's a pattern. Every time Meghan faces a career setback, out come the kids. When did American Riviera Orchard launch? Photos of Archie and Lilibet making breakfast. When did Netflix cancel her animated series Pearl? Disney trip photos of a whole family. When the docuseries hype died down. A tribute to their dog guy, tied neatly to their lifestyle brand. The children aren't hidden. They're rationed. A little glimpse here, a carefully staged photo there. Always at moments when Meghan's career needs a sympathy boost. Critics across the spectrum have caught on. Even commentators once sympathetic to her privacy battles are now saying, you can't demand privacy while strategically deploying your kids whenever you need good press. The heart emojis don't fool anyone, they just highlight the calculation. And think about the message to the children themselves. How do you explain to Archie that he's banned from being in Mommy's Netflix show but allowed to appear on Instagram when ratings tank? The inconsistency is staggering, and experts warn it could have long-term psychological effects. Behind the scenes, the Netflix-Sussex partnership is in freefall. Sources say executives are beyond frustrated because time and again, Meghan seems more invested in curating her personal brand than in building a genuine, collaborative production. And here's the brutal truth. Netflix didn't just sign Meghan Markle. They signed the Sussex brand. They paid for the royal mystique, the family narrative, the global curiosity. They wanted the golden combination of family appeal, royal intrigue, and Hollywood polish. Instead, what they got was a sterile cooking show nobody asked for, and an Instagram stunt that only highlighted the contradictions of their star. The timing couldn't have been worse. Netflix had already renewed her show before the season one disaster became clear. They doubled down on Meghan, only to discover she couldn't carry the weight. Now they were stuck pouring millions into promoting content audiences flat out hated, while Meghan herself seemed more concerned with her personal Instagram optics than actually salvaging the project. And then came the humiliation, the part nobody at Netflix can ignore. While Meghan's new series was tanking, her old legal drama Suits, a show that ended years ago, was quietly breaking records on streaming. Viewers were binging Rachel Zane at a rate Meghan Markle 2.0 could only dream of. Think about that. Her past self was outperforming her present self. To Hollywood executives, that's the ultimate red flag. Your star peaked years ago, and everything since has been downhill. Inside Netflix, the mood has shifted. What was once touted as a billion-dollar partnership is now being whispered about as a billion-dollar mistake. And this is where things turn dangerous for Meghan. Public perception isn't just wobbling, it's shifting hard. What used to be skepticism is now open eye rolling. The audience sees through the glossy filters. The critics aren't holding back. And even some of her most vocal defenders, the ones who once accused the press of unfair bias, are quietly stepping away. That kind of erosion is deadly in Hollywood. Once the shine wears off, it rarely comes back. And when insiders at Netflix themselves reportedly feel misled, even betrayed, the clock starts ticking. Because let's be clear, Hollywood thrives on spectacle, but it despises liability. Drama sells, but only when it comes with ratings. A flop this big, with this much baggage attached, doesn't just fade away. It brands you. It makes Meghan look not just unsuccessful, but unreliable. And the strategy of rationing Archie and Lilibet like luxury products on a shelf? Maybe it sparked curiosity at first. Maybe it drove headlines in the short term. But in the long run, it curdles. People don't like feeling manipulated. They don't want to be strong-armed into carrying through emotional blackmail, disguised as family bonding. It leaves a sour taste because audiences don't want to feel they're buying into a hustle. That's the danger. The more Meghan leans on these tactics, the more she chips away at the one thing she still has left to sell: authenticity. And once that collapses, no Netflix deal, no Instagram stunt, no glossy photo shoot can bring it back. So where does Meghan Markle go from here? She's scorched through nearly every avenue of goodwill. The press that once painted her as a victim of royal cruelty now openly mocks her contradictions. Netflix, once her golden parachute, is quietly counting its losses. And audiences, the same audiences who once rallied to her side in the name of privacy and fairness, now feel duped, manipulated, sold a brand instead of a person. The Instagram stunt wasn't just a misstep. It was the mask slipping, a flash of the machinery behind the Markle brand. A moment that revealed, in brutal clarity, the gulf between what Meghan says she stands for and what she's willing to do when the cameras stop rolling. Dan Wootton may have been the first to call out, but he won't be the last. Because now everyone sees it. The critics, the executives, the fans who once defended her. What was once whispered has become undeniable. Meghan Markle's Hollywood experiment is collapsing under its own contradictions. The ratings are abysmal. The content is hollow. And the calculated rationing of Archie and Lilibet as PR lifelines hasn't saved her. It's blown up in her face, eroding the very credibility she needed most. The question now isn't whether Meghan can recover. It's whether she even has the capacity to pivot, to reinvent herself without leaning on the same tired playbook of grievance and glossy performance. Can she evolve? Or will she double down again and again until there's simply nothing left to exploit? Because here's the cold truth: Hollywood forgives scandal. It forgives arrogance. Sometimes it even forgives hypocrisy. But it never forgives irrelevance. And right now, Meghan Markle isn't just skating close to irrelevance, she's teetering on the edge. One more misstep, one more desperate stunt, and the game is over. The cards are on the table. And Meghan Markle may have already played her last one.